This is actually sorry guys, we're starting a casual start today. We're just discussing the hard part about podcasting.
I like this.
Is that
I'm like 3, 2, 1, go action. Yes.
No, but the hard part about podcasting is that like it's when you like we talk. It's just like a personal conversation. How's that? Mic check. Better. It's a conversation, and that's what podcasting is. But there are things that are meant for not everybody's ears, but we're just trying to have a conversation. And so there's things that we obviously don't talk about.
Well, and sometimes like I prefer to start off with like a shocker or a banger or something to throw you off kilter.
You don't want to hurt people's feelings. And we've done it already on the podcast.
We have.
Yeah.
It's sometimes hard.
Accidentally.
We're just like talking to each other. And then we don't mean to. I think like me, I'm like very truthful. So it is what it is. Anyway, here's my intro, guys.
Your family?
Okay, are you ready for this? Okay, so while John's parents were here.
Starts yelling. It's so loud.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay, I'm going to start again. Okay, so do you know who has the worst luck in the whole world? Your mother. Okay, so if you guys ever have a bad story, even if you've lived in Fiji your whole life, I know for a fact that your mom has a story to top it. Okay? And to prove that she has really bad luck, I don't think this is all like seeked out. I think this is all just like an accumulation of like terrible happenstance to her. Because you know what happened to her while she was here? She's in the toilet. And then she flings open the door and she's like, ah! And
she's not that kind of a lady.
No, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, she's like, there is a huge like wolf spider in her skirt. Or either came from underneath the toilet and crawled up her skirt.
That's why
there was one in her skirt.
That's why I'm against skirts.
And
pants.
She was in the bathroom, and then all of a sudden it like came out. And so on my hands down.
Dude, a skirt has a lot of real estate for spiders.
It really does. I'm anti-skirt as well, so yeah. I will. After that,
there's a lot that can happen under a skirt. I'm not going. This is sounding wrong, but there's a lot of room under a skirt for animals and arachnids.
Yeah.
That's what a spider is, right?
I don't know.
Arachnid? I think that's the scientific family of a spider.
Yeah, I wish we could just pan to his face right now because he's just.
Dude, can you look that up actually? Is that right?
He's like, no, it's not.
What are arachnids?
Well, arachnophobia, I'm pretty sure.
Is this fear of spiders, right?
Is a fear of spiders, so you're probably right.
ERACH, I think.
So let's just tell the story.
Yeah.
If everybody
Arachnid.
does not know this story yet, John has this deep-seated fear of spiders in his depths of his soul, and he does not like to admit it, right?
No.
Even when you ask him,
I
he's
don't.
like,
No. What are you talking
I'm
about?
not scared of spiders. But in his actions, this is where you see the deep-seated, terrified, depths of his soul.
What's that? Arachnid. We're going to figure this out.
Anyway, what happened to you as a kid, John? Let's hear it from your lips.
What happened to me? Nothing. I'm not afraid of spiders. I don't even care about spiders.
John is so scared. And your mother will tell this story happily, so I feel like you're allowed to tell this story.
So there's a spider crawling in my room, or an arachnid.
No, don't
crawling
use
in my
that
room, and it had its white sack of babies. Am I right, Tui?
I'm sorry, I still. Could you just spell it out?
ERACH, I think. NID.
You guys are so slow. Come on.
Am I?
I think I'm going to beat you.
Arachnoid?
Arachnid.
Assist? I'm so wrong. So there's this spider crawling in my room, and it has its baby sack. They keep them in like a white sack underneath the body. And my mom took a can of... Am I right? ARA.
Yeah, I put arachnid, and you're right.
Oh, okay.
For all of you that can't see this, that's a spider.
Okay.
So.
Dude, John's so smart.
You're so smart, honey.
Somebody's patting me on the back right now. And she brings in a can of Mortine, which is like bug repellent, like spray to kill ants and stuff and spiders and all sorts of insects. And she like sprays it. And when you spray it...
Purposefully.
I don't know.
Well,
she does tell the story like it was purposefully, right?
She does tell it like it's purposeful. For that, it was
scarred forever. Not scarred.
Gist, but then she shut the door on you.
Yeah, but so when you spray them, they release their sack, the baby sack, and so it just like drop like thousands of baby spiders in my room.
And I feel like that scarred you for
it obviously like runs around like crazy, and they all just like poof, and it's just like this powder of spiders. Yeah. And
so here's the theme of that story. In our house, I killed the spiders. And honestly,
Please.
No, I have become really good with the Sasa broom. I have this like deep fear of all things crawling.
Dude, Sasa brooms are honestly
the weapon of choice. Yeah.
You might come to Fiji and hate the idea of Sasa brooms, but
I don't
they do
like
work.
them for sweeping that much, to be honest. Like
Dude, they are the best for sweeping.
No, they're great for sweeping if they were longer. Like my back, like you're just hunched over, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, just like getting through the house, just crouched over. My back cannot suffer that.
Right.
Just dying. If they were longer,
I feel like if you grow up in that, in that position, it's okay. You're better at other positions, like longer brooms and stuff.
Okay.
And
right?
what was
he
I saying
can't stop himself.
Oh, Sasa brooms, dude. They work for chickens. They work for dogs. They work for cats. They work for spiders. They work for cockroaches. Dude, cockroaches cannot be killed. You can't actually kill a cockroach unless you like really make solid impact with a shoe. But you just whiff it with a Sasa broom, and the thing's like,
it's the best.
The legs are all twitching.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
That is the thing that scares me the most. Like when I go to the toilet, I check inside the lid, and I make sure there's nothing underneath, and then I look down below the toilet seat, and then I use the toilet.
I'm not gonna lie. You guys should come visit us. Don't be afraid to visit us. But
no, don't visit
I
us.
saw like something, like it was like a hair or something that was like on the toilet seat when we had a bunch of visitors, not in our toilet.
Oh, okay.
Because I shave my butt. I don't have any hair.
Oh,
Just
okay.
kidding. No. I've heard some people actually do though.
Well, women get it waxed.
Oh.
Yeah. And like I tried waxing on you once.
Not
and
gonna
you
lie.
cried like a little baby.
I'm patchy to this day. Not gonna lie. Only the true G's will know what that's like. Huh? just looks like a map of the earth down there.
Dude, waxing is not for the weak.
Dude.
It is not for the weak. And men are always like, just get waxed. It's like, oh, boys, you don't even know. When they say pain is beauty, they mean pain.
No, they say beauty is pain.
Oh,
beauty
that's
is
right.
pain.
Same. Actually, I think same.
So wherever you are right now, if you're driving to work or holding a hammer, book your next bikini wax.
I would say respect those people.
It's true.
And don't think that you are way stronger than that, because I'll wax your legs for you and see if you're actually...
So there wasn't a hair. I lifted the toilet seat to be like, what's going on? Dude, there's a full spider just like hanging out on under the toilet seat.
Yeah, that's why you gotta check.
And it just like crawled up and out of the toilet. And I was like, oh my gosh, new fear.
That's why you have to check. I don't know what you've been doing all these years.
I don't lift the toilet seat.
Oh my gosh, you always have to lift the toilet seat. Have I taught you
But
nothing?
that day, like I sat down on the toilet and I'm like, oh, I feel like there's a spider like gonna crawl up my butt.
That's the fear. Okay, have you guys ever sat, some of you wouldn't have, but like a dugout toilet, like a pit toilet, where it's like so dark in there, and if you like fall into there that you will die?
Nobody said that.
It would happen.
Why would you die?
Because it's so deep. You would just drown in everybody's caca.
No.
Yes.
Everybody has diarrhea all the time.
Dude, the thing is so full. No, okay. So anyway, I am always terrified of those toilets because you don't know what's down there. Like, it's so dark that I'm always like, what's crawling up to get me?
I heard a story of a guy who jumped in there. Like, he was a real pervert.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, like, in one of the camp.
This story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In one of the, where we go camping in Canada, like, we always made an effort to go to places where you didn't have to pay. And so they're always off the beaten track and they're always like run down. And so most of the toilets, they don't even have like, you just have to like squat basically. And it's just a pit with a door. Actually, there was that one toilet that was on the top of that mountain overlooking the lake. Remember? On the top of that hill, you like hike up this hill and there's just a toilet seat. A toilet seat on a rock. And you just like sit there and you just survey the land.
Some people used it. I would
there,
not.
like on your throne.
Move on to the creeper.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, apparently at one of these campsites, there's a guy who like jumped down one of these pit toilets. Somehow. Dude, you got to be really like...
Desperado.
Yeah. And so he jumps down into the pit toilet. And then apparently a girl like you was using the toilet.
Me? Like
shone her flashlight down in the toilet and saw this creeper like just
yeah, because she was prepared for anything. And that's why you have to look down the toilet first.
Why would you...
because he was.
Why do you want that angle of that moment in time?
It was a weirdo. So that's why he looked down the toilet first. I always had like an irrational fear of like a badger being down there as well, because I've heard stories of that. Which, if you don't know what a badger is kind of like a miniature Wolverine, and that's always a fear of mine.
Yeah.
So yeah, we won't be doing that. But anyway, you need to check toilets in Fiji for spiders.
Moral of the story.
John, a couple times, like when we're sleeping, we have like a bug net over our bed,
which I don't like.
Which he doesn't like, which makes no sense because like
I like the days when we have to do like when we wash the bug net and it's not dry because it rained or whatever, and then you just feel like you're just sleeping
so exposed.
Like you feel like free. Like the bug net creates such a low ceiling above your bed and it like encloses you in. I'm not claustrophobic, but it just feels
safe.
It feels naughty to sleep without a bug net. You're like,
no,
I can sleep without a bug net.
You sleep really solidly through the night, and I do not. And there's literally every night for the last like 2 weeks, like a rat going in and out of our louvers, and it's just like, and I can hear it, and I just like, it gives you the heebie-jeebies, and there's no way. And then half the time you go to bed, you do not tuck your your net into the bed, and we're just fully exposed. So I have to get out of bed, tuck it in for you.
Actually, the reason why I usually do tuck it in is because one night I was in the bed and I got out, went to use the washroom, and then I came back and I like, for whatever reason, shot my light. I'm like, what the heck is in there? Dude, a spider crawled up the inside of the net. And so if I would have been sleeping there, it would have been like right beside me. A big one too, probably like the size of my palm or something. But I was like, oh shoot. Dude, I was like locked up for the next week. But I'm getting complacent again.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I just need to put another one in there for you. Just give you a little motivation.
Oh.
Just plant one on you in the middle of the night. Just. Oh. Aliki would do that to you. He's brave. He's brave like that.
Have you ever been bit by a dog?
I have been bit by so many dogs. Like, at least 8. At least 8.
Okay, so that's exaggerating.
It's not, though. I used to go. I'm trying to minimize. I was going to say 15. Because that's an exaggeration.
See, I'm trying to minimize it, so I just cut it in half.
I do. I exaggerate quite a bit. And so I was like, realistically, it's probably about 8. I used to jog every morning, which nobody would believe now. But for 2 years of high school, I took like a running class, like an exercise class. And it was terrible. At the beginning of the year, they time your run.
I met you just after high school.
Yeah.
You'd been jogging.
I'd been jogging. And they time your run at the beginning of the year, and then you do all the different routes, and at the end of the year you have to do the same route, and they time you again. And I never once got better. So we all know I'm not meant to be a jogger, because after a year of jogging, your time should seem to be increased. Anyway, whenever I would jog, I just had really bad luck. I would get bit or chased by dogs constantly. And I would jog with a partner, Brittany, and we'd always jog together, and they'd always come for me. And then my worst, actually, like animal attack was I was babysitting for this pastor. Bob.
The Chihuahua.
No, it was a Shih Tzu.
Oh.
And Bob, if you're listening, your dog, vicious. Anyway, I was babysitting these 3 little girls, and I had put my feet up on the sofa. Like, it was a longer sofa, so I put my feet up. I don't know if the dog was up there, but I wasn't like kicking it or anything. I was just like putting my feet beside the dog.
Dude, you don't put your feet on the coffee table. That's the rule.
No, it was a couch. And then the dog got angry and it bit my calf and it would not let go. Like, it had like a full mental breakdown and like bit me, and I had to punch it off my leg. It was a small, tiny little dog like this.
What'd you do with it after?
I threw it in a bedroom.
I
punched it in the face like 5 times, and then I threw it in a bedroom, and then I didn't let it out.
Did you actually throw it?
Yes.
But like you grabbed it?
I had to grab it. I had to grab it. It had to get out of. It was.
Was it going nuts?
It was attacking me. Yeah, it was still going nuts. It was just rabid, and I was like crying. It was so scary. I was bleeding everywhere. It was really traumatizing.
You almost had to get like a rabies shot.
No, I didn't though. Yeah, I probably should have, but I definitely didn't. It was very traumatic. I was scarred. I had like this scar on my leg for like 3 years, and I bio-oiled that thing so it disappeared because I didn't want the.
Oh, the bio-oil.
Bio-oil, best thing ever.
That does work.
There's like huge reports that are always like, it's so unhealthy for you. I'm like, dude, that takes away scarring like no other.
It's true. I
Yeah.
forgot about bio oil.
It has a really gross smell though.
Yeah. Wait, it's like this. It's almost like a coconut oil or something.
Yeah.
And you just rub it on your body.
It's probably like coconut and castor oil together. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, but it smells gross. But it works if you have scars.
Yeah.
Or like stretch marks.
Stretch marks or anything like that. Bio oil. I don't know. Yeah, check it out, guys. They're not a sponsor, but
That's what you think.
have you ever been bit by a dog or a cat?
Yeah, I was bit by a dog when I used to live in Nandi in Fiji. And yeah, it took a chunk out of my right ankle. His name was Tiger. He's just a short dog. He's one of the.
You knew the dog?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was our neighbor's dog. It was really weird because, like, yeah, I was over there all the time. I go over there and we used to live on like a Christian missionary base, like a church project.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'd all eat together in the kitchen, and a lot of times the food was really average. And so I'd take my food and take it across to our neighbors and exchange it for like curry and stuff like that. And so
I love that they're like, oh, here, exchange your average food.
no, but they loved our food because it was
okay.
like toast and cheese or like, just like butter and jam and stuff like
I'm
that.
Like, what were they thinking? Why are they exchanging?
I'm like, we always used to eat this like stuff they call white day, and it's just like, I don't know why, I just never liked it.
What is it?
It's like, I'm pretty sure it's like coconut milk. The way they made it on the YWAM base was like coconut milk, and then they crush breakfast crackers into it, but they leave some of the coconut like shred in there.
Okay.
And it's just like, raw coconut milk with
crackers.
With crackers, and you just like
it's like cereal.
Yeah.
With coconut milk.
Yeah. Or do they call it lotte?
Tui just said he thinks they did it wrong.
No, boto they call lotte, right? White day.
Yeah.
How
they don't squeeze the coconut milk. Scrape it in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, no, that's what it was. Sorry, that's what it is. Yeah, it's been so long, I can't really remember it. So you keep the coconut water inside, and then is it normal to put breakfast crackers inside? Oh, really?
A ratu.
And it is called white day. I guess. Okay. I was just like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, this is not cool. Like over there, like Gigi's making freaking bindi like curry, like with roti, like fresh roti for breakfast. I'm like, take my bowl of white day over to Gigi. That was actually shout out to Gigi, you're a lifesaver back in the day. Hero in my books.
Hero.
And like, dude, she always made like the freshest curries in the morning.
I'm gonna top you on that one. Okay. When my mother would go away, what? I'm gonna top you on it.
I'm used to getting topped.
When my mother would go, this is nonstop.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
Nice.
When my mom would go away, it would get really desperate in our house, and my dad would give us Cheerios, and then like randomly would be out of milk because my dad never like grocery shopped or looked in the fridge. Dude, for real though. And then he would pour orange juice over it and be like, "Here's your breakfast cereal." My sister, I think at like 8 years old, decided to learn how to cook because she was like, "Mom, it's not okay."
Yeah.
I'm so desperate.
I feel like a lot of dads would know, even in Fiji. Like all over the world, dads probably don't know what to do for breakfast.
I don't know. I feel like my dad, I love my dad. He is fantastic, but he is not.
But like if you took the cereal and bread out of a house, I think a lot of dads wouldn't know what to do for breakfast.
Yeah, but you don't put orange juice in cereal. I just feel like, hey, like take us to McDonald's. Don't do that to your family.
Dude, a good McDonald's sausage and egg McMuffin.
Do you know what's the best with my dad? When I was pregnant with Seva, my mom, I asked her to come too early. She was with me for like 2 weeks. And my dad was dying. Like he was eating out, going over to people's houses. And then finally he decided to cook himself like something at home, which my dad.
She had made like a bunch of pre-made like microwave meals.
I don't even bother anymore. He's terrible with that. Like you make him a pre-made meal and give him instructions, he still won't make it. And he called my mom and he was like, "Hey," and my mom's name is Sherry. And my dad called her and said, "Hey, Cher, how do I make this can of soup?"
And your mom was like, "That's funny."
It was great. I loved it. She had to give the instructions of like, put the soup in and then fill the can up and then put the water in, fill a can up of water and then heat. And I was like, oh, Dad.
And your dad was like, that's funny.
Stop.
Yeah.
That's
I hate that I do this now. And
this is the best thing. For years, it like kind of bothered John. Like he was like, your parents always says like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, our parents always say this, like, and it's the weirdest thing. And now I do it constantly.
It's John's new tagline.
It is. Like,
I love it.
When somebody says something that's like kind of funny or like, yeah, that's just entertaining
or ironic,
or it's good.
or like it's not laughable though.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's ironic or kind of like comedic, I guess. Like, but not, laughable. Then you just like, you're like listening, you're like, oh, that's funny. That is funny. And you do that. That's the point too. So for those of you, for those of you just listening to the audio, there's like a special point. It's not just like, that's funny. It's like, that's funny.
So if you've ever met my parents, that's like their tagline, and you may not know it is, but now you do. And if you know John, when you're new to this,
I only know this because I don't know if Jessica listens to these podcasts, but there's a girl named Jessica who a lot of you guys have met via our lives and stuff like that.
Also, I love her for pointing this out.
Yeah, and it bugged me so much because she was like, "That's funny that you say that. You say that a lot." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You're always like, that's funny," but you're not laughing. I'm like,
it's my favorite thing because my parents have ingrained it into you, and it's something that you've like hated on for so long, but now you're in the club. You in the club, baby. Welcome to the fam jam. It is a thing, and it's so great. Yes. I think funny. I win.
And it's not laughing. I'm just saying that's fine. That is funny. Straight face.
Yeah, I love it.
Have you adopted anything from my family?
I don't think so. I don't think.
That's funny.
Your I don't know if your family has like taglines.
Yeah, I don't think we do.
I don't think you do. I have adopted.
Your dad has some great ones though.
No. Oh yeah. I don't think I say that. I know your mom says I a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't.
That's my mom. That'd be my mom's probably like tagline.
That's like your mom's tagline.
Why did you notice it? You did?
Yeah.
You didn't notice it all the time?
Everybody has a tagline, I feel like.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
It's like something like one of our best friends, Jen. What do they say? What do her and her husband always say? They always say like
essential.
Essentially. They always say essentially. If you're listening to this, that's your tagline, Jen. Yeah. Essentially. So I don't know mine.
But I will say, Jen is always like from the moment I met her, and she probably is more sophisticated than most. But because she uses the word essentially in very uncommon and just uncommon ways, it makes her sound like really wise.
It's probably true.
Well, yeah. I mean, essentially, like what I'm trying to say about her is that, she uses the word in a way that I suppose essentially like a lot of people don't. You see how I did that? And it makes you sound like so like exquisite. Like,
yeah, I need to come up with some good vocabulary words. Actually,
your dad has some classics.
No, my mom has some better ones. If you listen to my mom, she has some old school phrasing going on, and
she doesn't use it all the time.
No, but I always call it out on her. But then you do that to me. Like I do that. Like I'll use like these really weird like taglines or like phrases, and you're like, "That's not a real word." And then I always Google it, and I'm like, "No, it is. I know it is because my mother uses this." And yeah.
I'm trying to think of. Yeah, well, the one your dad always uses. Come on, girl.
Come on, girl. Oh, come on, girl. John does that to me all the time.
I do that now. I'm starting to do it just because it bugs you.
John just slowly is becoming like my parents.
Come on, girl. Yeah. Let's go.
He always does that just to kind of like, I don't know. He enjoys the phrase. Yeah, but you kind of
love it. You're like, oh.
Well, I don't hate it. I've never like thought it was a bad phrasing. I just roll my eyes because like, you're like doing it on purpose to be annoying. Yeah. That's all. But it is weird how like eventually, slowly, you become more and more like your parents.
Yeah.
You just do. Or like the things that you thought. Oh, this is the worst one for me. Okay. When I was a kid, and we do this to our children. So sorry to our children as they listen to this podcast when they're older. Is like when I was a kid, I was not allowed to reply to my parents other than like yes, mom or yes, dad first. And with my dad, I wasn't really allowed to say anything more. And with my mom, you can be like, yes, mom. And you'd be like, excuse me, mom. And then she would be like, okay, you can like ask the extra, like, our movie's almost actually done. Can we have 5 more minutes or whatever it was?
Oh, okay, right there. Yeah.
And then I hated that as a kid. Like, I absolutely despised it. Having to be like, they're like, what do you say to me? And you're like, yes, mom. Yes, dad.
Like, may I?
Yeah.
Right? Before first you have to say yes.
And now I do it to my own children. It's like this vicious circle.
Well,
But
it's important
I think
for them to listen.
it is good that they listen. And like, I now as like an adult see the value in like having to respond and not just argue back. And it's a reminder to them to be like, first you obey.
To fall in line. Don't question anything. Listen to everything that people older than you
No,
say.
it's just first you obey and then you may ask a question. Right? But it's not like ask a question and then eventually obey. That's the
way I always think of it is I don't want you like asking why and continuing on with what you're doing when I tell you to stop when you're crossing a busy street.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, no,
like you need to learn to listen so you don't die.
Yeah. That's how I think of it.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
And there is like levels, like it's really funny. I was at my neighbor's house in Canada, Sarah.
What's up, my neighbor?
And we just met. It was our first meeting. We had this lovely like play date. And Aliki was like 2. He's toddling. And I got out of the house and I'm he must have been a little bit older than 2, but I got out of the house. We had this lovely time together. We're both on like our best behavior. And then he starts sprinting away from me. And we're in like this back alley and like this main road where he could die. And then I just like whip out this like get back here right now. Like this like absolute like savage
crazy
mother
one.
voice. Yeah. And then it was so funny because my neighbor like popped her out the window. She's like, yeah, don't worry. We all have that voice.
Really?
And then we were like best friends from there.
Dude, that is such like small like community, like small town stuff right there.
It's so funny.
I love that.
Because she
Just
knew.
like pops that out like, you go, sister.
Yeah, because she knew like it was like he's running to die. And I'm like, stop. Okay, no, like you need to stop. And then she
So
was
funny.
like, there it is. That's the real like
That's
mom
great.
vibe. Yeah, so.
Do you remember that scene from Welcome to America? Where the guy, like Eddie Murphy, like he opens his window and he's like, good morning, New York City. Remember? Or something like that? And the guy's like, hey, shut up. You. And then he's like,
F you too.
You too.
He was like so pleasant about it.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like,
yeah, thank you so much, sir.
good morning, my neighbors. I think that's what he says, right?
I don't know.
Like that.
Yeah,
what
that's right.
what did I say? Yeah, that's a movie. Welcome to America. But the reason why I'm thinking that is because like I was with someone you may or may not be related to.
Okay.
But we were like walking for whatever reason. We were open carrying a beer in Kelowna.
This?
In Kelowna.
Okay, it's just a terrible idea. John's trying to get arrested. No way you're walking around with a beer.
No.
That was so messed
he had
up.
a beer. He had a beer. We had a beer at home. Then we walked down the street. We were walking downtown.
Okay.
And then he was feeling all like, like, let's have a good time, I guess. And he was like, what's up, my neighbor? And he just like tossed this like empty beer bottle into like one of our neighbors like house like front yard.
Oh no.
And he like he meant to hit like there's like big grass like front yard and then like a bunch of bushes, and he totally missed it and just smashed like right in front of the car on the sidewalk or right on the driveway. What's up, my neighbors? Just like hucks this like this hook into and we're like, okay. He started running. Like, dude, you're such an idiot. He's like, dude, I was trying to hit the bushes. I'm like, seriously though.
And then you're like, what, were you going to pick it up after?
I'm like, what was the point of that? It was right beside that old Jewish like place. That's sketchy.
Okay.
Like,
So when we were in Kelowna, we used to live in this like little neighborhood, and just down the road, we had a really conservative Jewish, I don't even know what you call it, like synagogue, maybe?
yeah, but it was even more than a synagogue. They're like Hasidic Jews or some sort of.
Well, they were the most conservative sector of Jewish sect.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not sector.
Sector is like Formula One talk or something. I don't know.
Anyway, they were the Jewish.
Max Verstappen, he's the fastest lap in Sector 1.
Giant beards and the hats and the conservative kind of clothing. And what?
Yeah.
But that was so random in that neighborhood. And then actually,
dude, but the weirdest part of this building was it was just a rectangular black building with no windows, just front doors.
And now, do you know what it is? It's not there anymore.
Yeah, some mental wellness.
It's for children, honey.
Yeah, it's like mental health.
No, it's for children with
ADHD.
No,
autism.
Autism. It's a BI, behavioral interventionist.
Interventionist?
No, BI is behavioral interventionist. That's what it is. So it's a BI center. So actually, some lady messaged us a while back, and so I will mention it here. In Fiji, she was saying that we should talk about and bringing awareness to like children with autism. And actually, one of the ladies that
is there autism in Fiji?
Obviously,
no, but I mean like. Sorry, that came out really wrong. Is there autism that is like recorded and tracked?
Yes. Christine, the girl that manages all our merchandise, has autistic children, I think.
Yeah, but I guess, yeah. She's probably like the only person I know who's Fijian who is like aware, I feel like that.
Yeah, and I just got a message last week that some lady was saying, oh, my children are autistic, or one of my children is, and like it'd be cool if you guys brought awareness to that in Fiji. And something, I worked with children with autism when I was about 17. I did it for a year. I worked with one little boy that was...
That's 20 years ago.
No. Anyway, this is definitely not. Anyway, I worked with him for a year, and he was 4. And when I started working with him, he was not verbal, meaning like he couldn't talk to his mom. And he would grunt and moan, and he would slam his head into a wall until he'd bleed. And so the government in Canada, it's really awesome. They pay for funding for parents to have people such as myself come work with their kids. And you kind of come in, and every single day you work on one particular thing and help them with communication. So let's say, for example, he would do a lot of screaming when he was angry. And so I was trying to teach him like to stop screaming, because when he was upset, he would just shriek, and it could go on for like an hour. And so a couple times I'd be driving around town, and I'd be taking him to the mall and things. He would start screaming. And so one day we were in the car, and I was trying to teach him. I said, Everett, do you know what screaming is? And then he said, he just kind of like, he wasn't speaking. So he kind of made some noises. And I said, Everett, this is screaming. And then I just started screaming at the top of my lungs in the car. And then I said, can you scream? Can you show me what screaming is? And then he starts screaming. I said, yeah, that's screaming. And then we go in and we would say, okay, what's stop? And we play go, stop, go, stop. And so when I said, okay, now let's say stop screaming, can you start screaming? And then we'd say, stop screaming. And then he would stop. So you have to go through the whole process of like learning what words meant and the actions for those words. And then his vocabulary and his communication skills improved.
That's not helping in my marriage. Stephanie, this is screaming.
Wow.
Stop, go, stop, go. Stop screaming.
Okay, you don't even want to go there. Today? I did not scream at you today.
You do. You just made me cut all the carrots.
Yeah, John was so rude to me. Okay, he obviously wants to talk about this. He came into the kitchen, and then he...
No, I don't. Finish your story. Finish your story.
No, he came into the kitchen, and then he was like, so are you going to hang the laundry that you ran through the washing machine anytime today? And I was like, yeah, I was just going to hang it later because I just started making your dinner. And then he was on my case. Oh my gosh,
such a hero.
About...
That's good.
Seriously.
I appreciate everything you do all the time, at all times.
He was like, you never finish what you start. And he was in a bad mood today. And
I've been in a bad mood.
You have been in a terrible mood all week. And then I was pissed because I was like, how dare you? Like, I am actually just making your food. You do not have to request me to make dinner. We did not discuss like, hey, is it your turn or my turn? I just automatically go make dinner. And you could be helpful and go hang the laundry if it's bothering you that it's in the washing machine. I didn't ask you to, but if it's causing you distress, you have 2 hands, right? And instead, you decided, you were like, no, I'd rather make dinner. So, all right.
No, it's okay. Like,
Enjoy.
I appreciate it when you pitch in once a week with the dinner and the laundry and stuff like that.
Once a week. That's right. Anyway, John was like, oh, yeah, I'll make dinner. I'm like, good. Because that's a freaking 2-hour venture. And laundry's like not even 20 minutes. So that's great. And
you
then
made
John.
a good pad thai.
John took like an hour just to cut the carrots, and then I lectured him about how rude he was, and then I was like, I'll make a better pad thai anyway, so move aside.
Dude, you're
really
lucky
happened.
I didn't make my pad thai recipe.
And also I was kind of feeling guilty not to make dinner because Tui's been stuck at the office for like a month and a bit.
So you did it for Tui, not for me.
Yeah, it was definitely made it for Tui. Didn't do it for you, honey.
Even though it's my birthday tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Remember, it's tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Not
okay.
today.
And I'm turning 32.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Why?
No, he's turning
32.
32.
Because I was born in 92. Yeah. Yeah?
Everybody thinks John's older, but he's not. And don't say he's 33 because I'm only turning 34 on Monday. I think Monday, right? Yeah. Your mom scared me this year because she thought you were turning 33. And then I had like a panic attack because I was like, oh my gosh, am I turning 35?
You probably did actually kind of panic.
I did. I panicked. I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't even realize it was my 35th birthday. And then I was like, no way.
Wow, what happens on your 35th birthday?
It's got to be a big birthday. And I did not plan anything. It's going to be great.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And you don't have to plan a thing. I will plan it.
Yeah, well, that's because you're just going by yourself, probably. Like you always do on your birthday.
And what's the reason for that?
I don't know. I always make these epic adventure plans and like, we're going to go and on a remote island. And
yeah. Okay. So just so everybody knows, John's a lovely husband. He's terrible at birthdays. On our first year of marriage, John went snowboarding all day and didn't even like say happy birthday until like 5 p.m.
Okay, well, I left like the house at like 4:30 or 5 a.m.
And had his cell phone and reception all day.
No, I didn't.
Yes.
I did. Some parts of the mountain did not have reception. All right, when I was down in
just small areas
in the gullies, there was no reception.
Yeah.
But I just thought in my mind, I was like, it'd be more meaningful to wait until I get home
till the last minute
to wish her a happy birthday in person.
Yeah.
But I found out on a phone call on the way home that I received that wasn't a good idea. And obviously, guys, don't wait to do it in person.
Yeah. And then one year he
Use
did.
your technology.
And then the one, and like there's been a lot of like not like lots of hits and misses, but the one
You know how women remember all the bad stuff you do?
Okay, this is
funny.
this is the funniest one to me. John picked me up a cake because he was trying to be nice. But then John picked up tiramisu, and I was like, I don't mind tiramisu. It's fine. It's good.
It's your favorite cake.
Definitely. And then I was like, oh, John, like, why did you pick tiramisu? And he's like, it's your favorite. And I was like, no, honey, it's your favorite.
Oh,
I was like, okay. I was like, thank you, but that was probably.
I do like a good tiramisu, I gotta say.
He definitely went to the store and was like, which cake should I pick up?
No. I was like...
And then he was like, oh, tiramisu, that's the best cake. And then that's what...
No, it's because the tuxedo cake and tiramisu, the way they made them, it looks similar. Like they're a layered, chocolatey brown cake. Dude, now I just want tiramisu. I want tiramisu right now. But that's the way that they had them side by side. And I think I just mistaken.
I'm sure.
I think I actually asked for the tuxedo cake,
Sure.
and they just gave me the tiramisu.
Definitely.
And I was like, oh, dang it.
And it's been fine because, like, after
Dude, don't tell me that
years-
you wouldn't dummy a tiramisu right now.
I would. Yeah, definitely right now.
Oh, my gosh, I'd dummy one.
But in Canada, when we were, after a couple of years, I just realized, like, John is not a birthday person, and this is just not going to go.
Dude, this year, I got some plans.
Okay.
I got plans.
And then in Canada, I had like the best routine of my life. It was great. I used to go and like get my hair done in the morning and then go and get my makeup done. No, actually first we'd start with massage because you can't do that before or after everything. So massage, then hair, then makeup. And then I would go shopping and buy myself like a couple birthday gifts. And then we'd go out for a really nice dinner. Those are the best.
Yeah.
And then once we had kids, you got so mad at me. The first year that we had a leaky, you were like, I can't believe you're not home. You're not spending your birthday with your family. Like, you were so angry. And I was so angry, too, because I was like, I have made this my ritual. Yeah.
But I give the best birthday presents after dark.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway.
What can I say?
Actually, interesting birthday gift that you gave me.
Everyone in the room.
I don't know how to recover from this. It's very uncomfortable. It's deeply uncomfortable.
Sure, but like, I don't. Maybe this is not a conversation for right now. Like, you know how people like, I feel like people, and I'm just saying this because it's something that I don't identify with, okay? Is like, people have like occasion sex, like where they're like, oh, Valentine's Day is a day for great sex. So like, I'm going to give you birthday sex. We've never really like been about like the, you know, oh, it's Good Friday sex. You know? Okay, no? I mean Black Friday. What? I'm not Good Friday.
He doesn't.
I don't mean
Good
Black
Friday.
Friday.
Good Friday for him is probably every day of the week. Like, it's a Good Friday.
It's a Good Friday.
Oh my gosh. Dewey's like, he's canceling John himself. Dewey's ready to be like, no, here's the news.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Like, you know, I feel like some people are all about that. And
yeah, but like people are into weird things.
I choose to.
I can't look at Dewey's face.
Choose to keep the reason for the season
Dewey's
the way
like,
it is.
Take your foot and stop shoving it down your throat. Foot and mouth syndrome. It's not the best for you. Nobody. Maybe don't put that one as a blooper on Facebook. Dewey's like, can you get canceled quicker?
I'm taking timestamp that.
It's kind of like, do you know what? This moment right here is kind of one of those things that like your parents bring up to you. Like, hey, someone said this to me. Like, I heard this in your podcast because like.
My parents, your parents.
Well, like.
Your parents, Stephanie. Your parents,
that's
your
what
mom
I'm
does this to you.
up. My mom told me once, remember like when we did that like
Let's be
podcast
clear.
when we were talking about like pull-out method? And then someone came up to my mom and was like, hey, like your daughter was speaking about the pull-out method on one of her podcasts. And, bless her, my mom's the best. She was like, oh, okay, well, she probably had a good reason for it. Like my mom was really chill about it. But also like, these are the things that will come back to haunt you when you talk too much.
When you talk for a living.
Then you say dumb things, and then you go, "Oh, maybe let's not air our dirty laundry and talk about special."
Back to the point.
Dude's like, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Really? No, back to the topic. The reason we got started on this is because you asked me if I've ever been bit by a dog, and then we digressed.
Oh, we went down a trail.
Sure, I'll get back to that story, but. Is it a thing only in Western society where people are fanatical about occasion sex?
I don't really know.
Do you think is it a thing in Fiji? Do you think? I feel like in Fiji everybody's busy all the time. Yeah. This is the night. I feel like occasion sex in Fiji is like rainy weather.
Do you want to?
You know when you're in a shared house
actually know?
with no
Do you
roof?
want to actually know what I think about like the occasion sex thing?
What?
I think it's like
It's a lot of pressure.
I think people in like overseas are just like kinkier. So like when it's like occasion sex, they do like weird things.
Oh.
Or the like do like exciting sex, not just like basic sex. I think that's what they mean.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know what else like anyway. I don't know if I like this conversation.
do we? No, we don't do occasion sex. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's like obviously you just have sex on a normal basis, and then you don't need occasion sex, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're having sex like 5-6 times a week, you're good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, kill me. Sorry. Actually, I have
Every day's my birthday.
I do have some friends that are like, no, I have some friends that are like daily doers. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know them.
No, probably not.
Or do I know them, but I don't know who they are?
We're not going to disclose any information.
Oh, obviously.
But like, I just feel like that must be like, wow, you guys must just be at all hours, like all the time. And I'm sure they have a very healthy marriage because of it.
I don't have the energy for that. You know?
Some people do. And then there's people on the other hand, some people only have sex like once a month.
Yeah.
So that's, there's two extremes. You need to have somewhere in the middle.
Dude, some people only have sex once a year. And actually, you know what? That's a lot of people. True. And like in all seriousness, like, because I've had friends who are married and in like really healthy marriages, like they both love Jesus, they have kids, and actually some of them like even before they had kids, and it's like that is actually a big struggle, I think, for a lot of people going into marriage. I think with the culture that we grow up in, especially like with the internet and guys watching like so much pornography these days, or just maybe not so much, but just any watching porn, and then like getting into a marriage, just picture, knowing that like, oh, that's porn, that's not real, but still in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, I know what's possible. And then you move into a marriage and like you're both virgins, or even if you're not, you just expect like, I think also guys expect, I struggle with porn. When I get married, I will be able to fulfill my sexual desires and I will no longer struggle with porn. That's one problem. But the other problem is that like they get married and they're like, oh, this isn't what I thought sex was like. Like sex is supposed to be like sexy. Like, like right from the get-go, not knowing there's like a process and like you learn it together. And I think that is... Yeah, I don't know. I guess, whatever. I don't know where we're going in this conversation.
Well, I always say, like, especially within churches or things like in Christian circles, like, nobody ever talks to women about sex. And it's funny how, like, within marriage, like, everybody shames women especially about, like, don't be sexual, don't expose yourself, don't make men sin because they're lusting for you, cover up, do all these things. And then the moment that you get married, satisfy your husband sexually.
Right, and you're like, hey, but I've been told my whole life to like suppress any
and feel shamed about it. So you're supposed to all of a sudden strip down and be naked and not feel shame. Those two things do not go hand in hand. You cannot put shame on someone and then say get naked the next day and don't be shameful and fulfill your husband's sexual desires. That's actually so wrong. That is the wrong message. God has created be something beautiful within marriage. And
within the confines of marriage.
Yeah, and it can be celebrated in that way. It does not have to be shamed. And you can encourage people, I think, to say, like, you are beautiful and you are so valuable that you should not waste your body on someone else and save it as a gift, but don't wrap it in shame. It's unnecessary. But
like your grandmother used to say,
what?
If you got it,
flaunt it. I don't think that's what the message is.
No, that's not the message at all. But your grandma is so random for saying that.
My grandma's funny. One of my grandmas. I have very opposite grandmas. One is like cover up, and the other is you got it, flaunt it. So I have very mixed messages on, but they're both lovely ladies. So I think, best of both worlds maybe. But anyway, I think something that people need to consider within like sex and marriage and all this kind of stuff is like, you have an obligation to each other to fulfill sexual desires and to be able to do that for your partner consistently in a way that allows them not to go looking elsewhere. I'm not saying a certain amount of time. I'm not saying it has to be like
2 or 3 times a day.
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying it needs to just be enough that both of you are okay and fulfilled in whatever that looks like. I think like a lot of, I would say like after we had Aliki, like our first son, we had a really long period of time where we didn't have sex, probably like half a year.
Because it was 6 months, yeah.
because I had so much.
It was actually 6 months, 3 days, but it was counting.
Wow. Okay. Because like when I had a leaky, I was ripped a hole to B hole, and so I had a lot of recovery.
What's the B hole?
I don't know. Okay. What do you?
Wait, if there's an A hole,
I don't know.
what's
That's
the
what
B
you
hole?
say, right? I don't know. That's a saying I heard. Anyway, front to back. And with that, like we weren't able to, and I had to go see like doctors and different things like that for a long time.
Yeah.
And
That's
John doesn't see it this way, but I literally think that was the one year that was kind of like make it or break it for us. Like I remember thinking like, oh, I hate him. Like we had such a bad year, and we did sit down and go like, we are roommates that hate each other, that don't have sex, that are just stuck together, that work. You know, and we were working together at that time, so that made it worse. We weren't having sex. We were arguing. John was so mean to me that even his sister was with us for a while, and she was like, John, like, you're not nice to Steph. And I'm sure I wasn't nice, but that's his sister. But I think it was just really rough on us. And I remember us having, like, this really long fight, and then saying, like, I don't know if that was that year, but I remember us saying, like, okay, after 6-7 months, we had a great fight and sit down, and then we said, okay, from now on, we're not going to think badly about each other. We're going to work on this, you know, and we're going to start scheduling sex and trying to work on this once a week. And then we kind of just like pulled ourselves out of like a divorce rut, you know, like we were on our way to getting divorced if we hadn't had that fight and conversation and like, that like, hey, we're gonna do this awkward thing, and sex will be really awkward for a while because we don't like each other, right?
Yeah, and like
you're having sex with someone that you're like, I actually don't think I like you, but I am married to you, so okay, we're gonna give it a go.
Yeah, it's work sometimes.
It is work.
Yeah,
so.
And that's the difficult part about growing up as like a young person today.
Yeah.
Is that like you don't know what love is, and you don't know what sex is.
When we had such an easy, well, we say easy, maybe other people wouldn't see it that way, but we thought we had really easy first 5 years of marriage. Like we had obviously fights, like John and I love to have spats, but we're really good at fixing them.
Come on.
Or John's really good at fixing them. I'm not the best at fixing them, but John's good at fixing them. And then, you know, I think after we had a leaky, I think we were both shocked at how hard it was. I think.
I think you go through this period where it's like me and you and me. I feel like that's the lyrics for a song.
Maybe.
Anyways, and then all of a sudden you have this extra person, and it's like all that you're programmed to care for. Like you carry it for, and like before that, like it was awesome. Like I loved it. We would like go longboarding or like biking downtown late at night, go get a coffee, just sit on the boardwalk by the lake and just like watch people.
Yeah.
And like just go camping and just do the most like ridiculously simple but fun stuff. Because it wasn't like, dude, we were always scraping by.
Always.
Dude, we need to make a shirt that's like scraping by since 2010.
It's probably true.
You know what I mean?
True.
But like life was good, and like we figured out our rhythm, you know?
Yeah. Well,
and then it was like we added a leaky, and it was like, whoa, now like obviously we didn't have sex for a long time, but then also like all your focus was on him.
Yeah.
And yeah, probably.
And you thought I was boring and like not there for you, and yeah, it was hard because also like you don't feed the baby, you're not like attached to them at every second, so it's a weird disconnect. Actually, someone was saying, I was listening to a podcast a while back, and they were saying like, what if this husband or this millionaire guy was asking these other guys, my biggest fear is like my wife is pregnant, and like when the baby comes, what if I don't love it? And the other guy said like, give it 6 months after the baby's born, and you will feel like this deep, immense bond. And so it's different for men and women, because women have had like this like life in them, kicking them, like growing inside them that you kind of are forming this like attachment to. And I did notice, like, when I had my first son, I didn't feel this instant, like, wonderful, beautiful, like, fairy tale connection.
Oh, no?
I thought I would. And I asked a couple of my friends about it, and they said, yeah, it was me too. And some people do feel this instant connection. I just kind of remember, like, holding him and feeling, like, more freaked out. Like, like, I have a baby.
And
like,
then with Seva, what? The second?
I definitely felt more, like, at ease with Seva. Like, oh, he is mine. Because I already, like, I don't know, the first one, I felt like, ooh, like,
dude, I remember
there's a baby. Like, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I was not really like, oh, this is my baby. Like, oh, he's so beautiful. I was kind of like,
well, that's also from the movies too, though.
Me?
When like they put the baby in your hand and you're like, and you're like with your husband.
I know. I was just
like,
terrified. I was kind of like, you think I can take care of this thing? Like, I don't know. I'm so scared. And then remember when you put the baby in the car seat and you're leaving the hospital with them for the first time and you're like, are we qualified to take him in a vehicle?
Oh yeah, dude. I was like, strapped him in there, and it's like every, because you have to use a car seat in Canada, and so it's like every dad's job to like learn how to properly install the car seat.
100%.
Right? You got to learn how to lock it in there. You got to make sure you've like extended that seatbelt all the way out, and that it ratchets back in, so that it, and like you got to have that thing set up, and so you're like double checking it. You give it a little shake, and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to like shake the baby's head or whatever, like, is that too rough? And then you get in the front seat and I'm like driving and all I can see, because the car seats for the first like 8 months are in backwards, and we had like this mirror like facing his head, and I like looked in the rearview mirror. I was like, whoa. I remember looking at you, and then it's like, oh, we have a baby with us right now. And I remember just like driving to Mad Mango. For whatever reason, we wanted to go for our
laksa.
favorite soup called laksa. Is it Thai?
Yeah.
So we left hospital, we went for laksa. And just like gripping the steering wheel, like going downtown.
So
being
nervous.
like just like shoulder checking so hard.
I was a cool mom. The first day out of the hospital, I was like, let's go out. And after the first week, we went camping. Right?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
He was 2.5
2
weeks old, yeah.
Yeah, I could barely walk. I just sat in a camping chair.
Yeah.
And I was out camping. I was like, what am I doing with my life?
That was actually an overall pretty rough camping trip.
Dude.
Remember?
Yeah.
There was some like not the best stuff that happened, but it was like it was on one of the best fishing camping trips I've ever been on. The fishing was insane.
Yeah. I just sat in a chair.
And actually, the reason it turned bad was because the fishing was so good, actually. Because we didn't do our job as guys.
Yeah, because they just like left
went
us.
fishing.
And I'm just sitting in this stupid chair all day like, what am I doing out here? Anyway, we'll wrap this up. Just
But before we wrap it up, I did get bit by a dog. And it was on my right leg. His name was Tiger. And after I got bit, they wanted to pour kerosene on it. I guess that's what they do in Fiji.
Oh.
But I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. I feel like a petroleum-based substance is not good for my bloodstream right now. But that's what everybody does here. We all do it. Like, especially with animals and stuff. Like, we always put kerosene on it.
Okay, well, maybe.
I don't know what the science is behind it. But
maybe with an animal. But I'm not putting it on myself.
I don't know.
Like, I bet, like, well, does it have, like, a high like, alcohol base?
Oh, maybe, like, I don't know.
So it gets off the bacteria?
This is bro and sister science.
Yeah,
right
it's super bro science.
Sorry, you were saying. Huh? Yeah. What does the kerosene do? It stops the bleeding?
Why put glue? Tui's asking why I put glue. Okay, so historically, super glue in the military was invented so if you're out in the bush.
It was invented for like World War I or something like that.
Like military
World War II.
purposes. So if you slice yourself open, that you could glue yourself back together. Be very careful with that though. If you are still bleeding and you glue yourself back together, the blood will still pool in your your wound, and then it will rot underneath the like closed wound, and then you will die of infection inside, which is way more dangerous. So don't just go for it.
You have to make sure you've stopped the bleeding.
The bleeding has to be stopped first. But super glue is meant for that. I have like this really intense like scar here. I was working in a camp kitchen. We fed like 500 kids for each meal, and I had a piece of cabbage roll over. I sliced my hand open. And it was like me and like 3 other ladies feeding 500 kids. So I was like, I can't stop working right now.
Super glued it?
So I just like stopped the bleeding, super glued my hand, put it back together, and then just kept going. And it was fine. It actually barely scarred either. So.
Have you put kerosene on anything too? No?
No.
Yeah, I've never even seen it done. I've just
heard
everybody wants to do it.
What?
Hair? Oh,
what
for
did you
straightening?
put? Well, we're just paused staring. Ooh.
Huh.
Oh, lice.
Oh.
Dude.
Kerosene in your hair for lice.
That would burn.
And then match?
Actually, so I have this like
that would burn.
lice shampoo called Move. And when we first came to the village, a lot of the kids had lice. And our kids kept getting lice, and I kept getting lice. And I was like, I don't care if our children get it, but when I get it, I'm like, I have a lot of hair. And John never gets it. It's annoying.
No, I'm immune. Even though I have freaking bad head, like haven't got a haircut for 5 weeks now.
So I had it 3 times, and then I got angry, and I bought like a huge amount of lice shampoo. And then I told all the kids, like, if you get lice, come to our house, and I'll shampoo your hair for you. And it was a preventative measure, so I didn't get lice anymore.
So generous, but not.
So
Why? What did you
but
find out
not.
about kerosene?
The most common use for kerosene was antiseptic aid for cuts and scrapes.
So
The
he's
most
saying-
common use for kerosene was for For antiseptic
Oh,
aid.
see?
For
There you
cuts and
go. So it
scrapes.
must
Kerosene were also used to treat head lice.
head lice. That's what.
Did you Google like antiseptic and head lice used for kerosene?
Animal problems.
What did you Google? What did you Google?
Kerosene in medicine.
Oh, really? Dude,
See?
I've been a hater for my whole life, ever since I got bit by
I
tiger.
still probably wouldn't put kerosene. See? There.
Whoa.
I still wouldn't put it on myself, but I would put it on animals.
Because like our horse Felix, he had a cut on his back the other day because he got bit by another horse.
Yeah.
And they're like, not they, Marcidola was like, hey, we should put kerosene on it. I was like, okay, go ahead, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But there you go.
There you go.
It's so funny how these kind of things, I could have easily Googled this my whole life and just
I don't know.
just did not want to, I guess.
Oh, but what I was going to say is the boys, I had some teenager boys that came up to the house. They're like 19.
Yeah, but they scraped their head.
Yeah, but
Scratched.
they had lice for quite some time.
Yeah.
And so they've been itching their scalp. And I've used this shampoo on our kids often, but it has tea tree oil in it. But like I caught their lice within probably the first few days. And so we shampooed their hair. They were really young at the time, like 3 and 1.5. And they didn't complain. And then I put on these boys.
No, like,
and they were just like, it's so like burning. And, you know, and it
because
is-
they probably all had like small.
Oh,
like,
yeah. And I thought
the
they
head
were
is all
just being
scabbed.
like a bunch of wusses. Like, I was not even nice about it. I was like, oh, you guys are being such babies. Like, my kids didn't even complain about this.
Meanwhile, they got microscopic like cuts all over their
Yeah,
head.
meanwhile, like, they're probably in so much pain.
Brutal.
And I felt really bad for them. And then they went and ran and jumped in the river after the 10, 15 minutes. And then, you know, that smell of like tea tree oil is like with them for like a week. And they were like, oh, I hate that smell.
Classic tea tree oil. Yeah,
But I will say that stuff works like magic.
it does, but it's way too strong. Use it in the shower sometimes. It's just too bad. Anyways, guys, this podcast is brought to you guys by our newest company that we've launched.
Oh,
right?
yeah. WakaMedia. So we have just launched our website. So it is wakafarms.com/media. I just finished the webpage. So check it out. And you know what? It's so much better on a laptop if you can see it there. Hopefully
But it works. It works everywhere.
It works
so
on your
jump
iPhone
online.
or anything like that.
If you
Check
guys
it
have a
out.
business, corporation, or an NGO that you guys want to create content for,
That's what
we
we're
feel like
focusing on.
we have learned over the last 4 to 5 years, like how to properly like tell a story.
Yeah.
And so lots of people can make videos and get drone shots, but not many people know how to answer the why behind the what you do.
Yeah.
So wakafarms.com/media. Go check it out. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Stephanie, and Tui is behind the camera.
Thank
See
you,
guys.
Tui /Jamie.